So in past few lectures in manufacturing technology, we are talking about foundry technology, which is also known as a metal casting process. In that one, we have talked about basic introduction of the casting process. It is a process so producing a metal or alloy components and the parts which can be produced by pouring the molten metal or alloy into a prepared mold, and then they are allowed to cool, and after cooling and solidify we have a product. Okay, and that product that is termed as a casting. Then we have talked about various steps involved in metal casting. First and important step is pattern making. Pattern will be made of either wood, metal, plastic, wax, plaster. Okay, so there are numbers of various pattern materials are available. Then sand preparation and sand mixing. So in that one, we take a certain proportion of sand, clay, and water, and then it will be thoroughly mixed, and we have to take certain taste. So that is the second step. Then third step is core making. So uh, if we want to make certain hollow cavity or hollow particle parts or objects, in that case we can use cores. Okay, so core is a important step for making that hollow parts. Then melting. So from which material we want to make the final product, we have to melt it. After melting that material, it will be poured inside the hollow cavity, and then it will be solidified, and after solidification we remove the object from the mold. Then next step is the cleaning. So we clean and finish the casting, and then perform the test to check the or to remove the defects. And to remove that, we have certain heat treatment processes. So whatever the stresses during the casting process, that can be relieved, and again it will be retested, and after checking it, it will be delivered. So these are the steps which involved in casting process. Then we have talked about certain advantages of casting. It is a most versatile manufacturing process. Okay, it has a greatest freedom in design, in shape, size, and quality. Okay, it has a uniform directional properties. uh, Complex and uneconomical shapes can be easily made. Then uh, it is a single piece, so that no need of joining the process, joining the products. Okay, then heavy and bulky parts can be made by the casting process. Okay, we can also make machinable parts, and casting process can be mechanized so that we can use it for a mass production of components. Okay, then we have talked about certain applications like it will be used in transport vehicle, machine tool structure, turbine vents, mill housing, pumps, railway crossings. Okay, and then agricultural parts and sanitary fittings, and for construction, communication, and atomic energy application. Then we started our discussion on pattern making. So what is pattern? So pattern is defined as a model or a replica of the object to be cast. Okay. So the pattern is made with some various allowances. Okay. So what are that allowances that we are going to see? But it is made by certain allowances, and without a pattern you cannot cast a single object. Okay, so that is the must requirement. Okay, pattern is the must required for cast only a single object. Okay, if you want to produce more object or a single object, you must require a pattern. Without pattern you cannot do the casting process. Okay, and all around the pattern we pack the sand so that hollow cavity is created, and then in that hollow cavity molten metal is poured and and the casting is produced. Now there are certain ways from which the casting is different from the pattern. Okay, so what is the difference between this pattern and the casting? So generally pattern is slightly larger than the casting because it has to compensate several allowances. Okay, then also this pattern carries allowances for machining, because after the taking the object from the mold, we have to do a finishing operation. So in finishing, it means it is a one kind of a machining operation. So in that one, to clean and finish, we require certain allowances. That's why it is slightly larger than the original casting. Then in pattern, we allow certain draft allowances. Okay, and it has certain additional projection so that we can put the course on the in the mold. Okay, then in a pattern we cannot create holes or slots, while in a casting product we can do it after the taking out it from the mold. Okay, so we can drill it, and the material from which the pattern and casting made are totally different. The pattern is generally made up of the material which is easy to fabricate, easily available, and less in cost, while the casting is done from the product metal from which we require the product. Okay, so generally the casting metal and the pattern metal are totally different. Then we have talked about several functions of the pattern, and then how we can select the material from the pattern for the pattern, and then we started our discussion on uh, various kinds of material that will be used for a pattern. Okay, and in that one we have already talked about the wood. Wood is the so these are the five common material which is used: wood, metal, plastic, plaster, and wax. So we have started already our discussion on this wood. So wood is the most common material for making the pattern for sand casting because it has certain following advantages. Okay, so what is the advantage? It is cheap and easily available in a large quantity. Then it can be easily shaped and machined to different configuration and form. Okay, so any shape you want to generate, it can be easily shaped and machined on the wood. Okay, so that's why it is one of the most preferable material. Then good surface finish can be easily obtained, and due to lightness in weight, manipulation is easy and it can be repaired easily. Okay, so if any damage, we can easily repair the wood. Okay, so that's why these are some of the advantages which make the wood to be used as a pattern material. Then it has certain limitation that wooden pattern are weak as compared to metal patterns. As you know that metal are stronger than the wood, so that for a large number of repetition we cannot use wood. Okay, in that case we have to go for a metal pattern. Then they cannot withstand rough handling. Okay, so wood is considered as a sophisticated as compared to metal. That's why the rough handling of the wood that may damage to its surface, so that it is not used when when it is having a rough handling. Then they possess poor wear resistance, and hence they are abrased easily by sand action. So in sand casting, we pack the sand all around the pattern. Okay, so if you repeat the process of packing and removing the pattern in the sand, so it may have a wear resistance, and due to that wear resistance the shape of the sand pattern that may be changed after some usage. Okay, so it's a poor resistance. It also one limitation to use for when we have a large number of pattern usage. Then it absorb moisture and hence get wrapped and change the shape and size. So we know that wood has a property to absorb the moisture, and when it will absorb the moisture, its shape and size will change. Okay, so it will not remain original what we require because of the moisture content. Why? Because in sand we mix clay and water. Okay, so obviously some amount of moisture that will be absorbed by the wood, so its shape may be changed. So that is the another limitation of the wood, but still the wood has a certain very good advantage, so that in most of the pattern making we are using the wood. So uh, wooden parts are mostly used where a number of casting to be made in small and size of pattern is large. Okay, so we can use it for that. And what are the common wood which we can use? White pine, mahogany, maple, cherry, teak, and sesame. Okay, so these are the some of the common wood that will be used as a pattern material. Then next material is metals. So it has certain advantage that they do not absorb moisture. In wood we have seen that it absorbs the moisture, so that its shape and size will change, but here pattern do not absorb the moisture, so that not it will not go in abrupt change in shape and size. Okay, they are stronger and accurate, and hence more life as compared to wooden parts. Okay, so they are stronger and accurate, so that it possesses a longer life, so that if we use the pattern repeatedly for a large number of repetition, we can use it, uh, because of its strength. Okay, its hardness, it is not going to be wear out easily, so that its shape will remain as it is after a long period of time. Okay, it has a very long life as compared to wooden. They have greater resistance to abrasion and wear. So as we talk that sand will be wear out the wooden will be wear out easily in sand casting, while here they have a greater resistance to abrasion and wear, and that is the reason it has a long life. Okay, and they can withstand rough handling. Okay, so they are not they this metal can be easily used when we have a rough handling. Okay, while in case of a wooden, it cannot be used for a rough handling because they are sophisticated. Okay, so that's why this pattern can be used for a rough handling. Now still it has certain limitation that as compared to wooden patterns, they are more expensive. Okay, so that is the one reason. Okay, metals are most more expensive than the wooden. Okay, they are heavier than the wooden. Okay, so when it is heavier, then it is very difficult to handle it. Okay, so while wooden are very light as compared to metal, so that it can be easily handled during the uh, manufacturing of this pattern. Okay, then ferrous material patterns get rusted. Okay, so that is one major disadvantage because of this oxidation and corrosion. Okay, all these ferrous materials that get certain amount of corrosion on the surface, so that corrosion is nothing but in that case we just lost our outer surface because of this oxidation process, so that its shape and size will change. And again here why this ferrous material get rusted? Because of the water. And same thing here, that in sand preparation we add clay and water, so that water that will be come in contact with the ferrous material, and then it will start rusting. Okay, so in ferrous material this may be the problem, but in other material this is not a major problem. Then they cannot be repaired easily. Okay, the repairing cost is also high, and as well as the repairing process is also difficult. Okay, so they cannot be repaired easily. So these are the some of the advantage and limitation of the metal as a pattern material. Okay, but still in some case we are using the metals as a pattern material. Then it has an application that metal patterns are used where large number of casting to be produced from a same pattern. Okay, so when we have a large number of casting of the same shape and size, okay, if we do not want to change the shape and size and we want to produce large number of product, then we can go for a metal pattern. Okay, and it is also used in many applications for casting. Okay, and what are the common material like aluminum and its alloy, steel, brass. Okay, so there are so many various kinds of metals are available to employ it as a pattern material. Okay, so these are the some of the application of metal pattern. Then third material is a plastic. Okay, and as you know that nowadays plastic, that is the one of the common material that will be used in many applications. Okay, and why it is used? Because it has certain advantages. First is that it is have a lightweight and high strength. We know that plastic is very light and it has a very high strength, so that it can be used as a pattern material. Then resistance to wear and resistance to corrosion. So due to its strength, okay, it will not easily wear out, and we know that they are corrosion resistance, so that any chance of metal loss from the surface in case of metal or in case of a wooden, okay, that is totally eliminated in the case of a plastic. Okay, and they also provide good surface finish. So any smooth surface we want to generate, which is easily generated on a plastic. Then they are easy to make and less costly. Okay, so the cost is very less and they are easy to make. Okay, so these are the some of the important advantage of plastic. And it has certain limitation that plastic patterns are fragile. Okay, hence light sections may need metal reinforcement. Okay, so that is the limitation, that in some cases when we have a light sections, in that case that plastic patterns they may not be able to withstand. So in that one we require a metal reinforcement to provide its strength. Okay, then they may not work well when subjected to condition of several shocks. Okay, so when there is a several shocks, okay, so in that shocks, it may be due to that shock, the pattern from which we the if we make the pattern from the plastic, it may get damaged or it may break down. Okay, so that is the condition where we cannot use a plastic pattern. Then next one is a plaster. So plaster of Paris or gypsum cement is used as a pattern material because of the following advantage. Okay, so there are certain advantages. So complicated shapes can be cast without any difficulty. Okay, so there are some very complex shapes. Okay, and that can be easily cast without any difficulty. And we know that where the plaster of Paris is used, the gypsum cement is used to make a certain statues. Okay, so in that case we use the plaster. Okay, so we know that the statue has a very complicated shape. Okay, but that particular complicated shapes which can be easily done by using this plaster. Okay, it can be easily worked with the help of a woodworking tool. Okay, if you have a certain woodworking tool, and then with the help of that woodworking tool we just easily give any shape to the plaster, so that very difficult shapes which can be easily generated. Then it has a high compressive strength. Okay, so we know that the cement has a very high compressive strength. Okay, so the same property that will be obtained when we make the pattern from this plaster. Okay, so that's why it has a high compressive strength, and that is very advantageable. Then unlike metal, it expands while solidifying. Okay, so it expands while solidifying. So that is another good property of the plaster which will be used as a pattern. Okay, and then plaster is used for making small and intricate pattern and core boxes. Okay, so when we have a small and intricate pattern, okay, very difficult shape which is to be generated, that intricate shape is to be generated by any other metal or wood or plastic. Okay, that can be easily generated by plaster, and that's why in that case where we have a small and intricate shapes of the pattern which can be produced by the plaster, and it is also used for making core boxes. And finally we have a wax. Okay, so wax has a certain advantage that they provide good surface finish. Wax is very smooth, so it will provide a very good surface finish. Then after being molded, the wax pattern is not taken out, rather the mold is inverted and heated, and then molten wax come out or gets evaporated. Okay, so we know that wax is a very soft material. Okay, so when we make the pattern from the wax, okay, so to take out the wax pattern from the mold is very difficult. Okay, but how we do it? We just invert the mold. Okay, invert the mold, and then we just heat it. Okay, so as we heat it, what happened, that wax will be melted, because wax is a very soft material. Okay, so as we give some heat, it will be melted. So when it will be melted, it will be uh, easily come out from the mold, or it may also get evaporated. It will be converted into evaporated form. Okay, so there is no chance of the mold cavity getting damaged while removing the pattern. Okay, so this one good advantage, that any damage during the removing of the pattern in all other previous cases like wood, metal, okay, plastic, or plaster, in all these four cases we fix the pattern inside the sand. Okay, and then we remove. Okay, so during that removal of the pattern, it may have a chance that it will damage the cavity. Okay, but here what we do, we will convert the wax into molten form, so that it can be easily removed, or even in some cases it will be evaporated, so that it will be easily removed without damaging the pattern. Okay, so when we require a very accurate shape, very precise shape, in that case we can use a wax pattern. Okay, simply a example we will take, if we want to make some gold jewelry. Okay, so in that gold jewelry we require a very precise shape. Okay, and very complicated shape, so that shape or that pattern which can be produced by wax. Okay, and as this is one other another advantage, that it has a high accuracy. Okay, so as I told that in jewelry making or some small and sophisticated part, we require high accuracy, so in that case we can use a wax pattern. And wax pattern are used in investment casting process. Okay, so what is investment casting process, that what we are going to discuss in our upcoming lecture. Okay, but this is the special case where we can use only wax as a pattern. In investment casting we can use only wax. Okay, we cannot use plastic, or we cannot use plaster, metal, or wood. Okay, we have to use wax in that investment casting process. Okay, so these are the five materials that will be used for making the pattern. Okay, so these are the five uh, materials: wood, metal, plastic, plaster, and wax. And all these materials have their certain advantage, have their certain limitation, and they used in particular application. Okay, so we cannot say that this material is good or this material is not good. Okay, all materials are good in their particular area. Okay, and all these materials are used in a large quantity, depends upon the requirement. Okay, so what is your requirement? Okay, and what are the process you are selecting for a casting? Based on that, we have to select this pattern materials. Okay, so either we can go for wood, metal, plastic, plaster, or wax. Okay, and we will see that how all these pattern material that will be utilized for making a various pattern, because in our upcoming lecture we are going to see various types of casting process. Okay, 12 to 13 different types of casting process, and in that process you will see that how all these materials being used as a pattern material. Okay, so all materials are important, and all materials being used in various pattern making process. Okay, so wood, metal, plastic, plaster, and wax. Now, one another important topic, that is pattern allowances. So, as we discussed earlier in our discussion, that the patterns are made slightly larger. Okay, patterns are made slightly larger than the final casting. Okay, so why it is made slightly larger than the casting? Because it carries certain allowances. Okay, it carries certain allowances, and due to the metallurgical and mechanical reasons. Okay, so this allowances, due to that allowances, it is made slightly larger than the final casting. Okay, so what are that allowances? Okay, so so these are the some of the allowances that will be provided on the pattern, and because of all these allowances, these five allowances, this pattern that is made slightly larger than the original or final casting. Okay, so what are that allowances? So first allowance is that shrinkage or contraction allowance. Second, machining allowance. Third, draft or taper allowance. Fourth, dispersal allowance. And fifth, wrapping or shake allowances. So one by one we are going to see all the allowances. So first, shrinkage or contraction allowance. So what is a shrinkage or contraction allowances? So that almost all the metals used in the casting work shrink or contract during the cooling from pouring temperature to room temperature. When we pour it inside the hollow cavity, it will be in a melted form, liquid form. Okay, so we know that the liquid of volume, the volume of that liquid is larger than the volume of that solid. Okay, so when we pour the molten metal, it will be in the liquid form, but when it will be cooled from that higher temperature to room temperature, it will be converted into uh, liquid to solid. Okay, and during that liquid to solid conversion, it will shrink, it will contract. Okay, and due to that, whatever be the size, that will be reduced. So to get the original size, suppose you want to get the original size of 50 mm, suppose we are just taking the example 50 mm. Okay, and if you pour exactly 50 mm uh, of liquid, but after cooling it may be shrink and it will be converted into 49. So now what is our original size? Our original required size is 50, but after contraction you get only 49. So to get exactly 50, what we'll do? We will take 51. Okay, so we take 51 mm liquid and then it will contract. So after contraction it will be uh, contracted to 50 mm. Okay, so that is the required size. That's why what we do, we make the pattern slightly larger than the original casting. Okay, so this is the reason. So contraction takes place in the three phases. Okay, so what are the three phases of contraction? First is the liquid contraction, solidifying contraction, and solid contraction. Okay, so suppose in initial stage this is it in liquid form. Okay, so during liquid phase it will contract because its temperature is higher and slightly temperature is reduced. So this is the liquid contraction. Still it is in the form of a liquid. Okay, it is in the form of a liquid. Then the liquid is start converted into solid. The liquid is start converted into solid. So here we have a liquid plus solid. Okay, liquid plus solid. So this is solidifying contraction. Okay, so during that time also it will contract in some amount, and here it will be completely solid, and after that still it is come to the room temperature, it will be contracted. Okay, so that contraction, that is known as a solid contraction. Okay, so this solid contraction also take place in three forms: liquid contraction, solidifying contraction, and solid contraction. Now, to compensate liquid and solidifying contraction here, these two, to compensate liquid and solidify contraction, gates and risers are provided in the mold. Okay, so what is the gate and riser, that we will discuss. Okay, but here one thing remember, that to compensate these two allowances we have a gates and risers. Okay, whereas for solid contraction adequate allowances are provided on the pattern. Okay, so for solid contraction we must have to give the allowances on the pattern. Okay, we cannot compensate it by gates and riser. Okay, so for this one we must have to give the allowances on the pattern. Okay, so this will be compensated by the pattern only. Okay, and that is why we have to make pattern slightly larger than the uh, original size to compensate this solid contraction, while this liquid and solidified contraction, that will be compensated by gates and risers. Okay, so how it will be compensated, that we'll see later on when we discuss the design of gates and riser. Okay, that in upcoming lecture. Okay, but still you just remember that this liquid contraction and solidifying contraction, that can be compensated by gates and riser, while this solid contraction, that is compensated by the pattern. How it will be compensated? We just make pattern slightly larger than the original size, so that after contraction we can get the original size. Okay, so this is the shrinkage or contraction allowances. So the different metal shrink at a different rate because shrinkage is the metal property, and hence corresponding allowances are also different. Okay, so we know that the shrinkage is not same for each and every material. If you take aluminum, its shrinkage will be different. If you take MS, its shrinkage will be different. Okay, if you take steel, its shrinkage will be different. Copper, its shrinkage will be different. Okay, so different material has a different amount of shrinkage. So we have to take that allowances depend upon the metal, which type of metal we are using, and based on that we have to take the allowances. Okay, so that's why before we use any material we should have the knowledge regarding the metal, that what will be its shrinkage, for what size, what shrinkage is required. Okay, so all this calculation is to be needed when we design a casting, a pattern. Okay, so that's why this shrinkage is play very important role for uh, designing and manufacturing the pattern. Okay, so the shrinkage of the metal depends upon the following factor. First, the metal to be cast, which type of metal we are using here, as we talked earlier, that we are using aluminum or steel or copper or other material. Okay, so depends upon that, the shrinkage will be different. Then pouring temperature of the molten metal, up to what temperature we are hitting the molten metal, because we know that as we hit the metal at higher temperature, okay, its density will change. Okay, so that it is very important that up to what temperature we are pouring the or at what temperature we are pouring the molten metal is also important, because the fluidity of the product of the metal is totally depends upon the temperature. Okay, if it is pour at a lower temperature, okay, it will solidify faster. Okay, so in that case the rate of change, that is, or the shrink, that will be affected by the temperature. Okay, so that's why this temperature at which we pour the metal inside the cavity is also important. Then dimension of the casting, if we have a small size of casting, then it require a very less shrinkage. Okay, but if we use some very big casting and we pour many kgs of molten metal inside the cavity, and then after solidification we can have a very abrupt change in the dimension due to that shrinkage. Okay, so to fulfill all that criteria, we have to first of all find the dimension of the casting, that if it is a big or small, and big depends upon that size of the casting, dimension of the casting, we have to select the shrinkage. Then method of molding, what kind of molding method we are using, we are going to discuss all the various kinds of molding method. Okay, in some cases the cooling process is faster and directional, in some cases it will be slower and not in unidirectional. Okay, so in that case the shrinkage will be different. So that's why we have to see that what method of molding we are going to use, and shrinkage allowances for different cast metal. Okay, so what kind of material we are using, and depends upon that we have to take the shrinkage allowances for the casting. Okay, so these are the some of the criteria on which the shrinkage of metal will be depends. So this is the first allowances, shrinkage allowances, and that allowances is because of this contraction of the material, contraction of the metal during the cooling. Okay, from pouring temperature to room temperature, and because to compensate this we use a pattern allowances, and that allowance is known as a shrinkage or contraction allowances. Then second allowances is a machine allowances. So machine allowances or finishing allowances is the amount of dimension on a casting which is made oversize to provide stock for machining. So we know that the step is that uh, we require a finishing and cleaning. Okay, so to finishing and cleaning, what we have to do, we have to remove some amount of material. Okay, we have to remove some amount of material from the casting. Okay, and if you remove some amount of material, your original size may be reduced. So to compensate it, what we'll do, we just make a casting oversize, and due to that oversize we have some extra dimension, and so that after finishing or machining we have a original size of the casting. Okay, so that's why we require a machining allowances. Okay, so I think this is enough for today, and